my name is Lo, and here are 7 writing tips and tricks that have helped me as I write my debut novel. So I've been writing my novel for a year now-ish. Over time, I have learned a lot. I've learned a lot of tips and tricks that I thought I would share with all of you guys. Let's get into it. The first tip that I have is show, don't tell. If you have written a book before or you're writing a book, you have probably heard this, and it basically means instead of telling the readers what is happening, let them infer by showing what is happening in the scene. Showing is describing a feeling, an action, or a scene that lets the reader infer what is actually happening. For example, his hands shake as he reaches for the letter, his breath coming in short gasps. This shows that he is nervous and anxious and he doesn't really know what's about to happen. And even though it's not specifically said, it's pretty common knowledge. Telling is when you straight out say, he's nervous. It's a little boring. Showing will draw the readers in. It shows character development and it builds emotional depth. It's really important to have good detailing in your writing because if you just straight out say, oh, he's nervous, okay, good to know. But when you actually have the words that like, oh, his hands are shaking, hey, little beads of sweat are dripping down his face, then that's like, oh, I get you. The second tip that I have is read out loud. I like handwriting a lot. When I actually handwrite chapters, I don't want to type them all. I voice to text, basically. It helps me because sometimes my brain knows what's going on, but the actual words don't really make sense. So reading it out loud is like, oh, I need to change that, or oh, I have a better idea for this, because it really gets in your brain what is actually happening. It shows what your readers will interpret it as. When I was writing my novella, I would do this a lot. I would write down whatever scene I was writing down, and I thought it took a page. So I'm like, oh, I just wrote a whole bunch of words. I go to voice to text the scene. I'm like, what am I talking about? What am I talking about right now? The flow was just really bad, and it's just oh, okay, I thought I ate, but I didn't. And then it also turned out to be 2 paragraphs because I have big handwriting. So as you read your work aloud, it's kind of oh, okay, that kind of makes sense. Okay, or ooh, that doesn't sound right. I don't know. Would someone actually say that? And it's really important for dialogue too, because obviously you're saying the dialogue out loud. So you want to make sure it makes sense. The third tip and trick I have for y'all is to write every day. Come up with a writing schedule, whether that be in the morning, at night, or literally whenever you have free time. It's really important to continue to write every day so your brain doesn't get I'll write tomorrow. I didn't write today, but I'll write tomorrow. You always want to be working on something, if it's related to your book or not. Personally, I have discovered that I like writing at night, right before I go to bed, because I have the whole day to come up with all my little ideas, and I keep forgetting to write it down. So at the end of the day, I'm like, maybe I'll put this on paper so I don't forget it overnight. When you have that schedule, your brain is gonna automatically be like, okay, it's writing time, let's go. And eventually it will get easier. I personally think that short writing sprints are very beneficial instead of just writing for hours on end, because then you're gonna get burnt out and you're not gonna wanna write, and you're gonna get writer's block, and then you just won't ever write your book ever again. So as you are sitting down, just take note of the time. Be like, okay, let's just do this tomorrow. Let's just see how it goes. And that leads into the next tip and trick. Set small little goals for yourself. Right now, I'm trying to write at least 500 words a day. I'm not going to talk about yesterday, where I didn't write a single word. Having these goals will motivate you into writing. It certainly has for me. And don't forget to, take breaks and reward yourself for reaching your goals. I am obsessed with Hershey Kisses, so every time I hit a goal, I would have one. And it really motivates me. I am food motivated, okay? The next tip I have for you is to celebrate your milestones. This is so important, especially as a new writer. Celebrating word count milestones, chapter milestones, or anything like that is so motivating for you to keep working on your book. I personally do every 5,000 words just because that's 5,000 words. That's a lot. So I did 10,000, 15,000 was like, whatever. 20,000 was a big one, and now I'm almost at 30,000 words, which is crazy. Like, that's crazy. That's a lot of words. This is kind of related to setting goals, but reward yourself for hitting those milestones, like, because that's crazy. Like, you're writing a book. That's insane. That is insane. The next little tip I have for you guys is to outline. Outlining is very important. When I wrote my novella, I was not an outliner at all. I just thought of what I wanted to write and then I wrote it. Because of this, the flow of the whole book was real choppy. It didn't really make any sense looking back now, and I wish I did go back to outline. I did watch a video a couple years ago when I first started this book on how to outline, and basically all you do is you go through chapter by chapter and you do little plot points of everything that's going to happen in that chapter. So just a quick, you can do a summary or you can actually do little bullet points. Outlining like this really helps, again, the flow, because flow is so important and you want it to make sense. You can always go back and change the outline. Nothing is permanent, and I think that's really important for writers to know. Your work is not permanent until you hit publish. You are allowed to delete and erase and go back and change. There's no problem with that. You cannot delete what you haven't written yet. Lastly, and the most important thing for me, is to get feedback on your work. I have recently joined a writing group and it is absolutely insane. All of these amazing writers, and we literally just send each other our drafts and be like, hey, I really need help with this, or do you guys have any advice on this? Can you see if this makes sense? And it is so helpful because you are used to your own writing, but it may not make sense to everyone else. You need to get that feedback, and if someone says, what are you talking about? Because you know how the book is gonna go, and you know how that idea is gonna play out, but other people don't. So if someone says, hey, you just like skipped all of this information about this one thing, what do you mean? So that will help you kind of go back and be like, okay, I need to make sure I include this, and then it'll make sense to everyone. I recently did this. I sent my friend a couple of paragraphs that I wrote, kind of the introduction of the little psychological horror bit of my book. And he said, yeah, this paragraph was really good, really descriptive, but this one is just like you should add more descriptions in that. So I'm like, oh yeah, no, I see it. So, I added some more stuff, I changed a little bit of things, and I sent it to him again, and he's like, oh yeah, this is a lot better. But yes, those are my 7 tips and tricks. If you guys have any tips and tricks of your own, please leave them in the comments. I'm always looking for more advice and tricks and all that stuff for writing my book. I really hope these tips will help you write your book, write your novel, whatever you're working on. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys all next time. Bye!